movie references. Like I talk about Forrest Gump and stuff like that. And it's funny. It's like how.
For sure.
And so I got to change sometimes my content. But
I'm trying to think it hasn't been that long ago. I was in some setting, bunch of people in there. Oh, I was on a bear hunt. So we had that Damon Wolf, the camera guy.
Oh yeah.
And we were just kind of like sitting around shooting the bull, and like every reference I had, every movie, every song, it's just like nope, blank stare. I'm like, really? Yeah. I'm like, come on.
It's crazy sometimes that people. I mean, the previous generation probably had the same thing. Like our parents were probably like, yeah.
Oh, I know.
I reference this and be like, what? No, don't understand that. Have you heard that song? That song sounds like it sucks.
Have you seen Gone with the Wind ever?
Yeah.
That's It's not something I would watch leisurely, but I think I had to watch it for school.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, like everyone has these classics. Like
I remember that was like naughty one because it said the D word.
Yeah,
right?
it said damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Can we say damn on this podcast?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want. Yeah, I remember my mom being like, "Plug your earmuffs." Old school. You seen that one?
Oh yeah.
That's fun. He's got the little kid.
Yeah.
Earmuffs.
Earmuffs.
Puts his hand over his head. Are we rolling?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we do a little cold start.
Oh good. Well,
Yeah.
I silenced my phone, so I'm good now.
Nice. So we have a special guest today.
Longtime friend.
Friend.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember when we met.
It's been a while. I don't know if you were with the DNR at the time.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've known Brady. Has Brady been with GOHUNT a little longer?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just a
beginning,
little bit before me.
Yeah. So I don't know if I could say that I've been subscribed to GOHUNT before it was cool. But
is it cool now?
I don't know if it is.
Just kidding. Yeah, I think I might have met you at the expo. So we're here at the expo. So we have Sidney Smith.
Hey guys.
On the podcast, which you were so gracious to walk over with me today.
Yeah.
I felt really bad. I met him at the south exit over here. And I looked down at his shoes and I was like, oh man, I feel real bad having him walk through the slush. I'm like, those are clean.
They're clean still.
Those are
you did a good job getting through it.
He did offer me a piggyback
I did. What
ride.
size are those?
11 and a half.
That's
you want to try them
that's
on?
what I
They
wear.
don't stink.
That's what I wear is 11 and a half. Those for sale? I like them.
Hey, you were trying to pick up some the other day.
Those are nice. I like those, man.
My kids give me a hard time about it. Like, Dad, why are you dressing like a teenager?
Oh, I like them.
Because I'm 41 now, so I guess.
Dunks. Oh, they got the quilting on the inside.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
See, Tro's a sneakerhead.
The quilt. Yeah.
Tro was trying to pick up some Kobe's the other day while you were at the
the
expo.
All Stars.
Oh,
the Kobe All Stars,
Those
the
are
gray
coming
ones,
back.
kind of an off white. Yeah, we. I had to set an alarm to make sure I woke up and tried to hit. My whole family, my wife hit actually, so she got a pair for my kid.
Oh dang!
So we ended up with a pair.
I'm trying to find those new Travis Scotts. They're just like this, but they're all solid brown. But it has the powder fluff right there on the Nike symbol. But
So I'm not a sneakerhead by any means at all. I like running shoes. That's maybe it. But like, I still have a new business venture I'm going to dive into. I'm going to create like GOHUNT. Okay, maybe a little bit of side hustle from GOHUNT. GOHUNT has draw odds, for hunting and all that.
Yeah.
We need draw odds
For the
these
sneaker app?
sneakerheads.
I know.
you
What
never know.
are your odds going to be? Are these random odds? Do they have point systems at all, or do they get any sort of preference if you like bought from them before? You get like the early access to get the draw
It's
odds.
supposed to be completely random, but what's interesting is like for a long time we never hit on anything. Like we just kept going and going. We only had like one pair that I hit on, and we went like a year, 2 years maybe, and then more recently, because all 5 of us in my house, like we all get on our phone, we try to hit. And more recently, almost always one of us hits. And I wonder if the more often you try, the more engaged you are in the app, the better your odds maybe.
So what this is also sounding like is Idaho's system
Yeah.
to try to get a general season for your milk day.
Yeah.
That's what I tell people. Don't go on there because you're going to ruin it for everybody. But I'm not really a sneaker.
A junkie
all the time. I just admire the shoes, and I love that the retros are coming back. But like, of course, I like to wear nice shoes and my wife gives me a hard time about it because I have more than her. But like most people are, looking down at my feet, and might as well look at my shoes. I mean, now I know what it feels like to be well endowed, a well endowed woman. Because I'm like, guys, my eyes are up here. So,
I love you.
Sydney's great. I knew you'd come with some heat.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I mean, we appreciate you popping over. You were nice enough to meet us bright and early this morning.
Oh, this is a dream.
You're working at a booth.
Yeah, we do.
What booth are you working at?
So I help run a nonprofit organization called Disabled Outdoorsmen.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is, it's a 501c3 where we take, youth, veterans, adults, and we do lots of different events with them, but we take them hunting, fishing, but mostly hunting. That's been our organization's, most of the guys that help me run it, they're passionate about hunting. So we do a lot of that. But then we also do big events where we take like a bunch of youth and we take them on a shed hunt.
Yeah.
So we have a private property and they call it the honey hole, but magically there are a lot of people that have helped donate some sheds. And,
Gotcha.
And they'll go out and find
some sheds.
Yeah, we had one kid and just the cutest boy. He's, carrying his little oxygen tank and he finds a 400-inch set of bulls.
Man.
And it was just like, oh my gosh. Of course he's so weak he couldn't even carry it. So we're having it there, but he's smiling through his oxygen. He was just like the happiest kid. And so then they go home and brag it to their friends.
For sure.
So
How long have you been doing that?
this will be going on 7 years. So
where did that idea generate? Because it's such a coal idea.
Yeah, it's
because there's no pressure. It's not like you're killing an animal or anything. It's there's not the, I don't know, maybe the logistics aren't as hard, right? And you can get a kid out and go find some sheds and let them feel that. I mean, Brady's not a shed hunter, and Lorenzo, if he were here, he would poo-poo on us for shed hunting. but man, I love that. There's such a thrill in picking up a set of sheds or a shed.
Oh yeah, it's like an Easter egg hunt to them.
Yeah,
and some of them don't know what it is. We have to explain to them what it is. But yeah, it's a ride. It all kind of stemmed from like. So I actually, my buddy Weston down in Texas, he wanted to start a nonprofit, and he hit me up and said, "Hey, would you, be our first participant to take hunting, and we're gonna go hunt whitetail?" It's like, I've never hunt whitetail. What, are they like mule deer? And he's like, kind of, but with meth inside of them. They're just a little tweaky. So
that's a good way to explain a whitetail.
Oh yeah, this is probably the best. So we go down and I smell, the biggest whitetail I've ever had, and I've never, to this day, I don't think I'll ever have that opportunity again. But it just kind of caught fire, and it was the purpose behind it is like when I'm hunting, and I'm chasing, big game, I'm not thinking about my situation, the time, woe is me type of thing. And neither is the animal. Like, I wish the elk would come out of the tree and be like, oh, this guy has no legs. Why don't you come shoot me, buddy? I feel bad. I'd be honored. But no, you have to work at it. And, the whole time I'm not thinking about my leg. I'm trying to pursue the animal. So it's just that distraction that we take away. And so that's what we try to show to these kids that, hey, you could, life is difficult in some ways, but to hunt is still, everybody is able to do that. You might have to do it a little bit different. And there's some circumstances that are opportunities that what Utah does for us in other states that you can get, more help and chances. But ultimately, it's just really fun to see, especially someone that has never killed one before, to see them light up. And it's like when I take my kids, their first buck experience, I get to live that with some of these kids. Yeah. Or my ultimate favorite is taking somebody that's a father that used to be a hunter, so it can be related, have this, in a chair, have this nasty accident, and then they think, well, my life's over, I'll never get to do the things I love or passionate about. And then when we could say, oh, yes, you could do it with this, and this is an opportunity, these are avenues here. And then when it fulfills that purpose and he shoots that animal, he goes up to it and it's just like tears are rolling down his face because his life's back. And as a dad, one of the hardest things that when I was going through my trials, losing my legs, I'm like, am I of a value? Can I bring food to the table? And to see that with men my age, bring that back into their home, it can be life-saving. Because sometimes that's what they're going through is suicidal thoughts, because they're like, I can't be a provider anymore, but now I can.
Absolutely.
So
did you?
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Giving someone back their passions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that connection that they've felt at some point.
Yeah, we literally have had experiences where we could say hunting has saved someone's life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't want to say names, but we've known people that have come out to us and said, yeah, that changed my life. And I was looking down this path very heavily.
That's awesome. Did you grow up hunting?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I did. I grew up in Provo, but all my family lives in like Circleville, so way down south.
That's right. Did I know that?
Yeah, because we were talking.
Yeah.
Can we talk about mountains on
Yeah,
this?
for sure.
We're talking about Dutton.
Oh man.
And
Yeah,
I feel bad for all the Dutton guys because that is a honey hole. And like all the trees that are on that mountain that say Smith on it, that's my family.
Really?
Great grandpa.
Really?
In fact,
I'm going to start snapping photos and sending them to you then.
oh yeah. Well, so you know where Dandelion Flat is?
Yeah, very well.
So Dandelion Flat, I shot a buck, and why that place is special is I shot a deer. It was right after I lost my first leg, and so and it was one of those things like, I can still do this, and where he died was right next to a tree that had my grandfather's initials or name on it.
Wow.
Really?
So yeah, it was really cool.
Gosh, that's so cool. Like, just how the world works, you know, and just like, I don't know, hearing that stuff's cool.
Yeah.
Like, shoot a deer.
Yeah,
Initials
that's
right there.
incredible.
Like,
And that's who really got me into
Your
hunting.
grandpa?
Well, my dad
Your
too,
dad?
but it was like a family ordeal. We'd come up through Antimony and stay up on, you know, where Pole Canyon is.
Oh,
Up
yeah.
on that area. And we
I got every Christmas tree when I was a kid out of Pole Canyon.
Really?
Yeah, bottom end of Pole Canyon. And yeah, man, I spent my whole childhood up there.
It's still a really
I shouldn't say it,
good
but I
spot.
smoked my first cigarette right there at the water tower. couple of local hoodlums, you know. Yeah, couldn't power that one down. That was disastrous. But yeah, a lot of good memories. Just being a dumb kid, you know, growing up right there at the base of the hill. How old were you when you lost your legs? Your leg?
33.
Okay.
33. So I had this disease that I was born with, and it was progressive. So I was actually fine, but wasn't until I was in my teens that it started getting really bad. And then, you know, it was harder to hike. And then eventually...
What did it feel like?
A weakness. So all my muscles would stop working in that area. They would atrophy really fast. And then I'd start getting the pain because the muscles really work as a foundation for our body. So then bones would break. The nerves would kind of, you know, get... triggered a lot because it would start to deform, and so all these pressure points were really painful. In fact, I got to the point towards the end when they knew they couldn't fix it anymore with surgeries, is that I was walking on my ankles as the heel.
Gotcha.
And so that's when it was.
Were you
was
just in
super
chronic
bad.
pain?
Yeah, chronic pain.
That's so hard.
And then you just get so used to chronic pain over the time that like. I didn't realize it, but when they finally amputated, they're like, "Oh, did you know that you had 6 broken bones in your feet that weren't healing?"
Really?
Because I just kind of pushed through, you know,
Deal with the pain.
deal with the pain. Yeah.
How long did that go on? Before they were like, I think the prescription is here just to remove your
To
leg.
remove the legs. So I went on an LDS mission, and I got these giant braces, and that kind of lasted me for a while. And then when I was about 30, it was so hard that's like I couldn't do the things I loved. It was hard to work. Like even to go to the end of Walmart, if I had to get something out the back, I'd try to find a place to sit down first and then go there. And so everything, I mean, I was a proficient road hunter, I'll say that. But like the things I loved, that was what was killing me. And I had a young family. And so like having the dream of being this dad that can go play with the kids and teach them sports, that was like slowly dwindling. And
So you're married with kids.
Yeah.
Wow.
My wife stepped into that. You know, when we got married, it wasn't as huge. I mean, I had those braces, but it wasn't until it started going downhill. It was after and when we had a few kids.
Do you remember what did you feel when they said I think we need to remove your leg? I can't imagine what that would feel like to somebody that loves the outdoors, that's a young father that has your whole adult life pretty much ahead of you.
It was bittersweet, to be honest.
Gotcha.
Because the bitter part was fear. I was afraid, like, whoa, that's a little extreme.
Right.
Like, they don't grow back. We're not lizards.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I was like, okay, hold on, wait, what? Say that again. And he tried to explain to me the life I could have. Now, I didn't know any amputees.
Yeah.
So that was really weird, or been around one. The only one I saw was Oscar Pistorius. And that was like, oh, that guy's running until he goes to jail.
Until he didn't. I think he's out.
Yeah, he's out. He's
Yeah.
out now. That was the scary part, because then I thought, well, crap, am I going to still do the things I love? Is that now dream completely over?
Yeah.
I don't know how that works out. Am I going to be still? My wife can find me attractive, and like the whole complications. I just didn't know
Right.
Yeah,
what it was
unknown.
like. But deep down, praying to God, trying to find out, okay, I can't live a life like this anymore. It's so bad. I don't want to be around, because I'm just always in pain. I'm not like the most pleasant person to be around because of the pain. And then, end of the day, I'm so tired, and I'm always dealing with that. So like, help me, Lord, what is this path? Because this can't be it. It can't be it.
And you're also trying to provide a living and a home, and
Yeah,
That's a
that was
lot.
the thing. I had a job, and I knew I had to go to every day. And I was kind of worried too about that. Like, what's it like to be an amputee and still trying
Work.
to run around? I was managing a Holiday Inn, and I knew I'd be on my feet a little bit. So
Yeah. That's
the sweet part is that I felt at that moment it was the answer God was telling me. He's like, yeah, this is your path. It was just enough to be like, oh, okay. Because I've already been through like 12 different surgeries, and nothing was really working. This one could be the one. So it was something I was afraid of, but yet it was like a little seed of faith that was like, okay,
and hope.
let's nourish this one and see where it takes us. So,
It's probably not a greater feeling in the world than just like a spark of hope.
yes,
Like
Yeah.
a little bit of hope
it goes a long
goes
ways.
so far.
I honestly feel like that is a key to happiness and overcoming your fear, is that
Yep.
little spark of hope. And if you feed that hope more, you'd be surprised what the fears just kind of go out the window.
Yeah.
In a way, they're kind of work the same way, hope and fear. You can't see either one, you can't touch it. But if you dwell on one over the other, that's how they balance each other, or they can balance out
Yeah.
and diminish the other. So that's really where, to me, when I go speak to schools and organizations, I try to key on that hope and faith, that's a resource that we all can have. And you'd be surprised what ways you can overcome some of your challenges.
Yeah. So they took your first leg, and then right now, like I look over at you and they look pretty sweet. I mean, you got like carbon fiber. You got carbon fiber. I mean, they look pretty cool. You know what I mean?
They're sexy. You
They
can
are
say
pretty
it.
sexy. You got better legs than Brady, I think, at this point.
You do.
I probably have harder calves than Brady, but
Yeah, I mean, what was like the first iteration? Did you have? I mean, what do they do with you when they amputate a leg?
I asked to keep it.
Really?
I wanted to, yeah. Like the doctor made me sign the paperwork, because you can't keep it. And can't figure out, because some states you can. But I
Really?
wanted to keep it and be like a cool Halloween decoration,
You could do it. Could roll. It could be multi-holiday. You could roll that into like a leg lamp at Christmas, like the Christmas story. Put a lampshade on that bad boy.
Thanksgiving, you have
Yeah.
a leg here and a turkey leg there, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they don't want like people to bury them, and then all of a sudden like
Sure.
move, and then somebody moves back and sees like this leg
A
in the
leg.
ground, like, oh geez. Or my dog digs it up.
So
and,
they denied you on that one, huh?
yeah, no, they denied it, but
Did they have a plan as far as like a prosthetic to put on it?
yeah,
Okay.
Right then, I got fitted for a prosthetic in the hospital. It was a little peg leg, but it was more designed to balance while I was in crutches, so I can still pee standing up and all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
Because is there different ones that people can like kind of want for their like activity lifestyle, or is it
Yeah.
all kind of standard, or is it like, I don't know what the spectrum is of options in a sense, if that
No.
makes any sense at all.
you don't work for an insurance company. Nobody here does.
Yeah,
No.
Okay. 'Cause
Definitely
I'll
not.
badmouth them a little bit, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's
please
where.
do. I usually am.
Yeah, that's where there's a lot involved, and where you can, like this ankle, they call it a K4. So this is the high performance. I
Yeah,
can,
'cause like that
I can
looks like-
run in, I
yeah,
can play
you can do
ball in it, I can hike in it, I can dance in it. But like someone that gets amputated insurance may not cover that because they think, you're really not that kind of person.
Interesting.
So we're going to give you the shitty leg.
That seems horrible. Like,
Yeah,
just
it's-
to kind
it's
of like say that
awful.
to someone, like, yeah, you're not that person to need that, so we're not going to give you the best of the best.
Correct.
That's horrible.
Now, to see it on their point of view, there's most amputations come from vascular, like diabetes. That's a big common one. And those individuals are either on their way out, I hate to say that, or they're very heavy set
heavyweight.
because of the lifestyle they lived, and they're not going to want to ever do that. However, I don't agree with that because it has changed my life, and I feel like there's an eye-opening experience that can happen from your amputation. I talk to a lot of people. I get referrals. I got one this morning actually to call someone that's going through their first amputation and walk them through that mental process. And I work with an organization called Amputee Blade Runners out of Nashville, and we try to get companies to donate some products at cost, and we have prosthetists will fit them if they want to be active, because insurance sucks. It will deny you. Almost everyone will deny you a athletic prosthetic.
Wow.
They think it's a luxury item.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I say,
Yeah.
they're expensive.
Sure.
I
Oh,
say it's, my running set's about $70,000
Gotcha.
altogether.
Do you care if I ask, like, what's the process of taking it off and putting it on? Like,
I'll show you.
How does it work?
Yeah. So every prosthetic leg, depending on where it's placed, because you have above knee and below knee.
Yeah.
Even within below the knee, there's a different, we call a suspension. So how it connects to your prosthetic. This one here is called a seal-in prosthetic. So, and this is kind of a cat's meow leg. So I'll kind of go over all the bells and whistles. To start at the basic, I have here, we call this my stump. And I'm sorry if it stinks. I did work out this morning.
Nice.
So,
Yeah, we'll get into that.
I won't take it all the way off, but this is a sweat sock that prevents some issues from happening.
Okay.
Like when sweat kind of causes friction,
Yep.
like same with blistering.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah,
on
it's
your
like
foot.
layering socks in a
So
boot.
this is a company called Swiftwick. They're runner socks, but they
Yep.
also make them for stumps. And then I have a liner that goes around it, and this is an extra added space because when I did my weightlifting competition or my bodybuilding competition, I lost a lot of weight, so I needed something to
that's
fill in
something
the
that
volume.
Yeah,
wanted to get
we
into
gotta
eventually
get
here.
into that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then this is a sock to kind of add that in as well. And then this is the actual liner that creates the suspension. So this is a little suction
Okay.
plug right there.
Oh, interesting.
And so that kind of creates like a
vacuum
suction
almost?
ring. Yes. And then I slide down in it, and then I have this one-way valve that pulls the air out. Okay. And then this company, they're out of the guy makes them here in Salt Lake. They're out of Steamboat Springs, but this is like a BOA.
I was gonna say, yeah, it looks
system,
like a lot like
but
a
it's a
boa.
reverse BOA. So it's a new technology where it can tighten and then loosen. Where the other BOA, you tighten, and then you have to pop it out, and
Yeah.
it loosens everywhere. So this is a new technology that I get to try out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because
Click Medical, I'll give them a plug. They're the ones that make that one.
because I saw you. You maybe post all the time, like different stories and reels. Like you're doing leg extensions,
Yeah.
and like that blew me away. Seeing actually doing leg extensions, like I could right down there. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like you can do leg extensions still.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, leg extensions. I have to wear a sleeve on this one because this one's a little because I had to re-amputate this one because it got infected, so it's a little shorter.
Okay.
So
different lengths?
Yeah. So this one's a little bit longer. That's
Gotcha.
why. But yeah, this one stays on better. This one kind of is a little wobbly because it's shaped funny because I had to re-amputate
What
it.
does one of them weigh? Was it heavy? Do you
It's about the weight of a tripod.
Okay.
I'm trying to
Yeah. Right.
maybe not like an ultra light, like a tracer tripod, but maybe like a big old Manfrotto.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to be gear junkie oriented because I know you guys like that.
What is that? Do you have any kind of like a gauge on what that would weigh versus like a natural leg?
Yeah. So we did before and after.
Uh-huh.
These are about a pound heavier than what I was before. So, but there's other. This is a more heavier setup. My running setup's way lighter.
Okay.
But this one's heavier because I have extra padding around the shin bone for like when I'm backpacking. There's a lot of pressure on that front bone as I'm going up or downhill. And so there's extra padding and then these flexible inners. So that's that plastic trim on the outside because of the different angles when I hike. It just pinches on the carbon fiber so bad that it can cut through and give me more blisters. So this gives me a soft edge to it.
Are these adjustable as far as like the angle?
Yeah. So when I wear cowboy boots, there's those little screws on the base.
Yeah, set screws.
Yep. So I can adjust the angle of how those work. So when I'm wearing cowboy boots or shoes with was it Ultras with a negative heel. Yep. Then I can make some adjustments there to balance out.
How long after? What was walking like after you had your legs amputated and you started walking again? Was that like relearning?
No. Yes and no. Not to brag, I picked up really well because of that medical or that Forrest Gump brace that I had. And so I was kind of relying on an item, and I wasn't my muscles really working that way. So a lot of walking is in your knees and your hips and trusting that gait. It was just a little different because now I have carbon fiber that has a return, so I had to kind of adjust to that. So I picked up pretty quickly.
Did you pretty instantly start to feel like throughout your entire body just better?
Better, yeah. I was running 3 months after amputation.
Did it alleviate a lot of the pain?
Yeah.
Pretty quick?
It was a different kind of pain because early on in amputation was adjusting to that because your limb's so much bigger and that calf muscle has to atrophy, all the scar tissue has to kind of go away and the water has to kind of dissipate so where your stump is not expanding and growing. So going through that can cause pains and not fitting properly. Also, as a fresh amputee, I experienced a lot of phantom pain, which I still could feel the original chronic pain that I was experiencing randomly, or like it'll be sharp pain. So like the best way I can explain is like hot sand on your feet or stepping on a Lego piece. So for a while I had like Tourette's because I'll be like, what the freaking hell?
Really? Nerves.
Yeah.
Do you still have phantom? Because you hear that, right? Phantom limb. You like people that will lose a limb. They'll have the feeling that it still exists, that it's still there.
I do if I do some backpacking or hauling an elk or something heavy, where it's just a lot of pressure on that stump, and so the nerves kind of get fired up. So I'll go home, and after I'll go to bed, I'll be like, oh man, I could feel my toes just killing me.
Wow.
So that's about the only time.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Interesting. Did you get back into hunting pretty quick? Like, was that always a goal, a drive for you, a driver?
Yeah, it never really ended, but it wasn't until after I lost my legs that I get pretty obsessed with it.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't even pick up a bow until after I shot bows, but not hunted with it until after I was an amputee. So, but now it's just something I think about all the time.
Yeah, you
just want to continue
for
it.
So,
that's awesome. What was I can't imagine. I mean, everybody kind of has things that they're going through, right? Like, how do you find like that mental fortitude to like move ahead? And this isn't just like, I mean, we talk about hunting, and I know you love to hunt, but like you've kind of brought up that you got into, bodybuilding, and that was so interesting to me. I followed along so close, and just legitimately completely blown away. I'm like, here's this individual that
there's a fat ass in there.
You have more reason just to spade a spade. Like, you have more reason than most to just say, you know what, I'm just gonna like sit on the couch and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, what is that?
So I don't know how to explain it, but and I've heard it after the fact, but I'll kind of explain how I interpreted this, just trying to stay positive and going forward. Is I still battle with demons on a regular basis. Like towards the end or towards the beginning of this whole journey, I did want to end my life. There were certain things that kind of came clear about, although I had this resentment towards God about my situation, that I can't control this. However, I could control some of the trials that my kids could experience, such as a father has taken his life. And that was an eye-opening thing for me to be like, okay, there's got to be a purpose behind things. And when I lost my legs, I made this journey in the hospital that I'm going to do this Ironman. And when I went through this Ironman, the whole time I had my foot on the pedal, and I couldn't see those demons in the rearview mirror. And as I was moving forward, I just kept pushing forward and forward and forward. Finished the Ironman, those demons started to tinkle in a little bit, and that's because I let myself relax, get comfortable, take a break. So then I caught on to that, started climbing different peaks and mountains. Yeah. Fast forward, doing an Ironman, or doing other races, and then to this bodybuilding competition. And the more that I find something that has a goal attached to it, like a purpose and drive to it, I find myself doing intentional things, hard things on purpose, intentionally. And the more that I found myself doing that, those demons become further and further back. And what it is, it's like a muscle in your brain. The harder things you do intentionally, that's why, talk about the cold plunges or why people do rucks, is that when hard things do happen that you can't control, you're going to be more prepared for that. So you choose, my phrase, you probably heard this before, choose to do hard things so you're more prepared when hard things choose you. And so I don't know if you guys listen to Huberman Lab. Love the guy. There's actually a science behind doing hard things intentionally. It's in your brain. It's a muscle, and the more you exercise that, because we can't control some of the things that happen to us, but we can be more prepared mentally and so forth. So I just find that fascinating. It's kind of where I've lived my life. My wife kind of gets annoyed by it because she's like, really? Can you just calm down for a second?
So you got something else then you're going to be kind of preparing for? If you Ironman, you did the bodybuilding thing, you got some other big goal now that you're pushing towards, or challenge? Or I
am. I have two that I'm working on. So one is not a physical feat, and the other one is. The one that I'm focusing at this moment is when I finished the Ironman and just the whole amputee story, people ask me, say, hey, come share your story to my youth group or my church group or my school. Then it turned into businesses, and then I started getting these messages from people that I did not know that I was impacting their lives. And I thought, I was just, a redneck cowboy from Vernal trying to throw some slides together and giving some wisdom that I thought I just experienced myself. And I thought, well, maybe there's a better purpose behind it. So I thought, this year, 2025, I'm going to take my speaking, which I've been kind of doing leisurely, just kind of a hobby for fun. I'm going to try to take it to the next level. And I come up here to Salt Lake and get trained by some mentors and try to do this more professionally. So that's one goal. It's a big challenge. I didn't realize there's a lot to it. Yeah. There's a science to it. The way that you, it's like watching a movie. You go into the movie and there's these plots that kind of peak and then they drop you, and then they get you higher and they drop you, and then they leave you on this high, and then you kind of, to where you're wanting more, and you do that in a speech. And so I was kind of learning some of those techniques to be more better at it. And it's something I didn't want to do. In fact, in college, I had to take a public speaking course. It was just like an elective that it was required to take. And I'm not to brag, but I got all A's except for one class. And
public speaking?
Public speaking, it's like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
It's like, why? I would never do this. Like when people ask me at church, I try to bow out and I try to get out of it. No, I don't want to speak.
It's really uncomfortable.
It is. Some people say it's the most uncomfortable thing.
Yeah. It's hard.
I've even seen some things lately. I don't know how I get served this on Instagram, but it's like that public speaking thing, but it's like people are coaching about how to even do body language.
Yeah.
When you're like on a stage, like how you're supposed to like stand when you want to present something and like, move forward a little bit and like that body language. People, if you just stand there normally straight, people don't think it's emphasized and they like lose the thought right away, even though they can understand it, but your body language is conveying something else. So it's like you have to move a certain way. What you do with your hands, obviously, like everyone doesn't really know what to do with their hands, that whole joke thing. But it's like, I started watching that one. I started going into the rabbit hole of like, maybe I should learn a bunch of this stuff too. Because like I give, seminars every now and then, but I'm not talented as well. And I was scared shitless back in the day trying to do seminars in school and college. It's the same as everyone else is. And it's like, I was like, it's kind of intriguing to learn how to do public speaking stuff.
There is a
and
science to it.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're going forward with it because it's
there's a delivery method, there's a pause method.
Yeah.
There's a time that you should use humor, not to use humor.
Exactly.
Don't want because some humor, like comedians, like they know how to peak
It's
that, and even the best comedians know how to drop that mic
to
perfect.
craft written word and then be able to deliver it. So interesting.
Yeah, I think you'd be really good at that.
I'm excited. I mean, I'm learning more about it, and like I've had some great referrals, and it's gonna keep me busy. But that is one that's just out of my element because I never thought I could do something like that. And then the other one is there's something about the ocean that
Terrifies me.
Terrifies. Yes.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate it.
And I mean, I live in Utah, so we don't have that problem. But growing up, like. Jaws was a big thing, and even when I go down to like Lake Powell and we go swimming, and like something would touch your leg like a stick, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Jaws or Ursula from The Little Mermaid or something like that. But I'm working on a charter. I have a charter lined up. I'm just working on a sponsor and possible a videographer to swim from San Francisco around Alcatraz and back. Yeah.
So, that's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, I would. The goal would to do the English channel, but my wife's like, not quite. So if I can wing her into it, this is my. Yeah. She's not gonna listen to this podcast, but this is my like sneaky way to kind of say, see, I could do that. It's only like a little bit further.
Yeah.
So.
What was the hardest part of doing a triathlon?
The run. Swimming was for most people the hardest because it's intimidating. You're in a wetsuit, you're getting knocked around, and it's a long, it's not like something anybody would go swim on a regular basis. We rode bikes as kids, but swimming that far is.
Do you have swimming prosthetics? How does that work? No.
I wanted some.
You just take
They
those,
don't allow it. Like I wanted a mermaid fin.
Like flippers on those. On those bad boys, man. A couple of flippers, you can cruise.
Oh, it would be amazing.
So you just pull those off and you swim just
straight stumps.
Straight stumps.
That's they have restrictions on that because you could get something that's super buoyant that gives you an advantage, and fins are technically an advantage, and so. And I swam in high school and a little in college, and so I had a swimming background, so that was the easy part for me. But running, it's just, I love to run now, but just it's probably the most hardest thing on your stumps that you can do as an amputee is the running. Yeah. So
you're trying to manage probably the pain and just the impact. Over
the impact.
And over, and then
backpacking's another hard one because of that extra weight. I mean, these carbon fibers that are built inside, the density of them and how much of them are actually determined on my weight. So when I'm carrying an elk, the spring actually starts to bend, and it gives me less balance because now there's all this extra pressure on that instead of a nice firm placement when I put my foot down.
So that's something I must need to like develop for like, hey, we got guys who are going on elk hunting. We need to make a stronger spring for just this 9-day hunt or whatever, and then you can like swap it out or for like a heavier one. And I try to think how that would work because
I mean, I could get a heavier, rated to like 300-400 pounds.
Yeah.
But then you lose like when I'm hiking normally without the extra weight, it would feel like walking on a 2x4. It's just there's no spring to it.
Get one you could throw in your pack and swap it
Yeah,
out or something.
Yeah, I could.
I don't know. But that's interesting. I never thought of that too, because you throw a bunch of extra weight on there, and it's like, what if the worst thing happens when you're out there then, and it does fold and
that's happened.
Cracked? Really? It has?
Yeah, twice.
Oh my God.
Twice. It not on the spring, but right here, the pressure of just the carbon there, and unfortunately, well, one time playing basketball, and I was actually grateful. I broke it down here playing ball, going up for rebound, but the other one was backpacking. One was in Colorado, 4th season, 35, and was coming down a ridge, and I was by myself, and it just snapped. And it's like, oh my gosh, there's no duct tape to this.
Yeah.
And so I was like, crap, what do I do? And I didn't have an inReach at the time, and I knew my buddies were a couple of ridges or mountain over, but they didn't know where I was. And so I just had to crawl.
Really?
All the way, yeah, because I didn't have cell phone service.
How far?
It ended up being a mile.
No
crawling.
way.
And it was super late, so they were a little bit worried.
4th season.
Yeah, 4th season,
Snow,
so it was coming
cold.
in. Yeah,
You're
it was
crawling.
awful. But I remember on my maps that there was a trail, and I was like, oh, man, if I can just make it to this trail. And I made my goodbye video too, by the way, to my wife. It's like, if you find this, I love you.
Oh my gosh.
I love my kids.
So heavy.
Don't sell the guns for the price I told you I paid for.
It's worth a lot more. But
Oh man.
sorry about that.
But one thing about Colorado, and you could attest to it, is, this is dark, almost midnight, that I'm like, who would be hiking around in the middle of the night except for these like tweaked out hippies, like with the patchouli oil. And that's what happened.
Really?
There was someone on that trail.
Found you.
Yeah, down there, and then got in contact with a friend and buddy, and then they got there. And then my buddy Mike, he gave me a piggyback ride, him and Kevin, and
Wow.
we got back down to the truck. So that was a pain for them too, because
Sure.
And it was steep. You'd think you could hop, but it was just kind of weird. And I had my pack and my rifle in the back, and so it was like awkward. I didn't want to give that up.
What do you wear on those just for boots? Do you have a boot that you like that you wear? Like, have you tried different boots? Is there some that are more comfortable than others? Like, or is it just...
I go around. In fact, some of I tested from the GOHUNT stuff, the shop Innovates. I like those, the tennis shoes. And the reason why is because I don't need insulation.
Yeah.
I don't need ankle support. And so I just need something that's light and that has traction.
Right. Yeah, the traction's probably the biggest thing, right?
Yeah, so Solomon's I like.
Gotcha.
But I feel like I love Solomon's, but I like the Innovates. I think are a little bit, I think a sturdier tread. Like I don't wear through them as much.
The Solomon seemed like when I used to bow hunt in Solomons all the time. And you would wear through them. Like you need two. If you have an August hunt and like a September hunt, you almost need two pairs because you're going to destroy that pair during scouting season. And then by the time September comes, you almost need another pair because that tread just gone.
Yeah.
So soft.
They are, which is in a way nice. In fact, that's where I got the idea was from you. Is that you were like Solomon's? I'm like, what is that? And then I looked and that might be perfect. So that's what I use. I go, or Merrell's. I like Merrell's too. Like I just need something that's sturdy enough.
Got some tread on it. Lightweight.
Yeah, and I wear them out pretty quick because I'll take them ice fishing and all that stuff. So.
Do you carry a set of tools with you for your?
I do now.
Yeah.
I do now. So fast forward after that experience, I'm hiking to this mountain called Timpanogos, right here in Utah County, and I summited, but on the way back down, I broke it again. Same place, other leg though, and I had a little fiberglass kit in my pack at base camp, and I keep also just little screws in case they come off, and some blister tape too. But my sister was with me. She was able to retrieve that kit, and you have to use water and just kind of let it set for a second. The fiberglass kind of put it all together enough to get me off the mountain.
So is this something then when random things break or tweak on there that you can give feedback to someone? Like, hey, can you, like, you know, there's a lot of us out here doing the same thing. We're putting, you know, these things through extreme environments. Can you reinforce it here? And like, that way, you know, doesn't happen again? Or is it just like these people are hard to get a hold of, or I don't?
No, I'm lucky enough that I get to test some products with some of the prosthetic companies. Like this ankle, I helped beta test a few things with it, the running blades that come with it. So I can give feedback. This organization, Amputee Blood Runners, like there's a different kind of mixture in the resin that that bonds to the metal pieces here, that it has to cure a little bit longer, a little bit more hold. So there's some changes that we've made since I've used it. So,
what was your first hunt that you did? Do you remember? When
as
after? As an amputee.
As an amputee. So there's two. One is a single. Was that one with on the Dutton? On the Dutton.
Killed the buck.
Killed the buck. That was a real special one.
Yeah.
And then as a double was elk hunt it was my first branch antler bull, and ended up being a general season 6-point bull.
That's awesome.
And I was like real tickled pink. And
So cool.
What was your emotion like that?
Well, first of all, it's like I grew up, if you hunt elk and it has antlers, just a spike, that's a trophy in a general unit. But I've never really seen a 6-point in this unit before. So for him to come in the way he did, he came in at 33 yards. And
Archery?
I was rifle.
Gotcha.
But I was prepared to shoot. You know, I had my 300 Ultra Mag. I was prepared to shoot long distance, but he came in. I was like, "Whoa, holy crap!" I'm like, had my scope turned up, and I was like, you know, he's kind of circling in, and that was my first up close bull experience, and you know, it was one of those, you know, butthole puckered type moments. And,
Looks like you could pop that off and use it for a sick rifle rest.
Oh yeah, no, I have
really?
before.
Have
You?
Oh yeah,
because it's got a perfect groove.
Yep, it has a little niche. I have sometimes.
No
I'll rest
kidding.
or I'll rest my or like I'll like a binos or spotting scope. It doesn't work as good. It doesn't work as good, but no, that whole experience was rewarding, and I had to pack it out a little bit, and to have all that extra weight for the first time, it's like, oof. I'm glad I have friends that are with me. So
let's talk about bodybuilding.
Yeah.
How did you get into that? What happened there?
So
it's pretty awesome, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Like when I saw you compete in the photos and the whole nine, I was like, this guy is a G. Like, this guy's the man. I knew you were the man, but I was like, this is so cool.
It's like next level type stuff.
Yeah, because you got so shredded.
Oh, thank you. I tell people it was all AI. But, those that know me know it was different. But so after I finished the Ironman, he was still trying to find different things, doing different activities, but I was not used to the weights, or the amount of food that I was eating was now different, because I needed to consume almost 9,000 calories when training, 26, 27 hours of cardio a week. And that, training that much is, you can't out train a bad diet. You've probably heard that a million times. And
living proof right here.
Yeah. I wasn't training as much, but I was still eating the same amount of food, and I kind of plumped up, and I was in Lowe's getting some parts for fixing something, and this old cowboy in Vernal, wearing a farmer wearing overalls, he goes, "Hey, son, I know you." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm sitting. He's like, yeah. Don't you do them marathons and Ironmans? And I'm like, yeah, I do some of those. And he goes and he pokes my big old fat gut. He goes, "Huh, looks like you have been doing them lately." Really? I was like, oh. Just old farmers. This is old people and kids. They have like no they can say whatever they want.
Yeah.
I can't wait till I'm that age. But it made me kind of realize, like, hey, I got to change something up. I started playing basketball quite a bit, try to find that balance of what my body liked. I tore my MCL going for a ball. So it kind of forced me to stop and for a moment and try to recover. And I hit the gym, and I just was at the weight room and seeing people, what they were doing. I thought that's pretty impressive. And so I just started talking to the biggest guys in the gym. I says, I'm curious. And the curiosity turned into what they were telling me. And it's not lifting all this weight, although you do need to lift to maintain that muscle. It was what you eat. And I knew right then and there was going to be my new challenge. That was going to be hard, is what I eat, because that was my biggest demise. I love to run and bike for hours, but when it came to food, I just like pizza, cereal, donuts, bacon. Love that.
Is one harder than the other? Is diet harder to maintain and be more disciplined in that regard, or working out for you?
I think everyone's different, but diet for me is way harder than training. Fact. Yeah. Training's more like a mental thing for me. Like I have to train every day, otherwise I just feel like I'm not a good human. Yep. But the diet piece was more of a discipline thing. You know, a lot of like, anger, but when I stuck to it, and literally to do something like this show, I had to figure out where my weight loss was starting to come into through a calorie deficit. And then I had to figure out my macros, how much protein I need to eat. But not only that, to make that work for me, I had to eat certain foods at certain times of the day. And to have the high protein where I need to be with the low carbohydrates, I couldn't eat like pork. And I was like, what the heck? Or even like whole eggs. I can have some eggs, but I also add egg whites. And then beef. Like I love beef. I couldn't eat the beef because of all the fat content that involved it. So it bring that calorie up. So what really was my diet is, I live near Flaming Gorge. I go and I would catch my limit of kokanee salmon, and then I'd eat that. And then I had 2 elk in the freezer. Elk, the fat protein ratio is so good. And it's clean. And when I just started eating natural foods, non-processed foods, and logging everything down, my body just turned into this machine.
Just responded.
It just responded. And then it was like every little thing had a great response. So like a little cup of rice could turn into like 3 miles of running. That's how I can calculate it. But yeah, elk, antelope, deer, those 3, and kokanee salmon. Those are my protein states, and occasional protein shakes too.
I'm always fascinated by diet and exercise, and it seems so bizarre to me that, and I'm this way. Like I would rather go out and run, and I can run 5 or 10 miles. It might take me an hour. I get up early, cold. And I'm like, this seems way harder than just watching what I put in my mouth.
Correct.
But it's completely opposite.
Yep. With the show, I would say to get to that physique, I never gained more strength in the gym when I started my cut. I maintained it. But I would say 80% of the grind of doing a physique show is what you eat, when you eat, playing with different salts, when to dehydrate towards the end, that kind of stuff.
And you learned a lot of that from guys in the gym that you were just kind of watching?
Yep, still watching.
Did you have a coach through it eventually?
I didn't per se had a certified coach. I had a gym buddy that had some knowledge, and then I had another guy actually in Washington. His name is Red. He was a bodybuilder, and he was going to do his first classic bodybuilding competition. So that's like the full Speedo thing. Yeah. And
did you do the full Speedo?
No, I did the board shorts.
Dang it!
So, sorry to disappoint you. But 3 weeks before his competition, he lost his legs. Oh. And so he never did compete. Okay. Oh. And so we became buddies through the amputee community, and he likes to hunt, so there's only a few of us. And then he's like, hey, are you doing a show? I'm like, yeah. He's like, can I mentor you, coach you? And so between my buddy at the gym and him, they all kind of gave tips. And my buddy, I think it really helped him because he was living vicarious through me because he wanted to do this. come showtime, he surprised me. He shows up to the show from Washington down to Salt Lake, and he's the promoter, the guy that runs the show. He allowed him to come backstage and kind of help me along. And then he's like, "All right, Sid, I'm going to do this, but you're going to go on show with me." So people ask me, "Are you going to do another show?" I said, "No, yeah, but I'm going to do it with this guy."
Yeah.
So.
What'd your family think when you told them you're gonna do this type of thing?
Oh, it gets all over. Like, my teenagers tease me. They're like, "Dad, we're having donuts. I'm sure that's not in your macros." Mom, just to give me shit. And my 7-year-old, she thinks I'm amazing. She goes up and she'll feel my biceps. Like, "You got the biggest muscles in the whole world." I'm like, so cool. "Thank you. You need to tell your mom that."
She probably knows.
So, my wife, she obviously knows that I have something loose upstairs, and so she knows I need this. So she has been supportive. There's this little bit of a stigma with people that do bodybuilding. It's like kind of, "Oh, look at me" type of thing, and that was honestly the hardest part. Is to go on stage to flex.
The nerves.
Were you nervous?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I can't imagine.
In fact, I probably could have done better, which is more motivation for me to do another one. But the first part of the competition, because I go on stage 4 different times to get graded. In the first 2, I was so nervous I did not have the poses down. I saw the video and I just looked like, what is he doing?
Wow.
Like, he doesn't, it's amazing because what the judges are looking for is this. In my, the physique is this V. And to get that, you have to flare out your chest, but also your lats. And I could not do that on stage. I was just so nervous, like, what am I doing?
Right.
Yeah.
What if I turn left? Am I right? Like, what year is it? I don't know.
It's like when you got like a big bull in front of you or a big buck and you're about to take a stock, you're probably nervous. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
You're shaking. You're like, you know what to do. I practiced it, but when it comes down to it, it's like, eventually the second time, okay, all right, I know what to do. A, B, C, D. Like when you're holding your bow, all your anchor points before you release that shot. And I got up there and I killed it, and the judges came after her. It's like I ended up 4th place, which wasn't bad. But the guys are like, the judges are like, "Oh man, you have really good this and that." It was really impressive. However, if you would have done that at the beginning, you would have won it. I'm like, why? Don't tell me that. Oh, no, I got to come back.
I just think it's so cool that you're willing to put yourself out like that and do it. It's really inspiring and really neat. Do you look back on yourself and feel proud? Like, do you feel like, man, I did something, like I pushed my boundary?
Yeah, I feel like I still have a lot to my story that I want to go after. I mean, eventually I want to write a book and talk about some of the big, deep stuff that to dig out of. So my journey's getting close to where I feel a little satisfied, but I mean, it wasn't pretty. Like I try to, parts of my life I think back on, I wish I didn't do that. But also there's things I'm like, I'm kind of glad I had made stupid mistakes, or I could have made even worse mistakes. That's taught me, it's developed me who I am. It's, I really wouldn't give it up for anything, especially this trial. Like as much as I resented it and blamed God in the beginning, when it all came to pass and I finally realized that this is his way of showing love.
I think you told me at one point that you wouldn't change it.
No.
That you would choose it.
100 times over. Yes, absolutely. Maybe with a little more hair, but that's it. Like it's brought me to my knees to pray more. It's helped me gain more patience, which in turn has led me to be a better employee and give me promotions at work. That's helped my family. It's opened doors where I could talk to people that I've never thought, like, seen, even being here. I mean, it's kind of, my story has brought me to this point. It's blessed my family in lots of different ways. It's helped me gain compassion for people with disabilities, and helping them and trying to do my best to be not what's better for me, but what's better for the world. So yeah, no, I wouldn't change it for anything.
How did you? There's a lot of people, myself included, that forego opportunities to help people, admittedly. Like, you seem like you look for opportunities.
Yeah.
You're out, and you take advantage. I don't know if it's advantage, but you're giving up things. And I think about myself. I'm like, in a lot of ways, I'm really selfish because I do things that I want to do when I could probably do something to help someone else at times, how do you do that? Like, what is it in you that, because you do so much I see you speaking to people, youth groups. I see you taking youth out hunting. I mean, we talked as we were walking over, do a fishing tournament.
Yeah. I've just had so many nice things happen to me, like with people that have helped me. I was that guy that's like, golly, I'm not sure how I'm going to move on. And I just had too many good people in my life, friends, family, that have given up that way. And I love that feeling of knowing that I'm loved. And because of that, it's taught me, hey, this is kind of what more life is about. Like, I love those things, hunting and fishing for myself, but I also like to serve others and try to pay things forward. Can I do both? Yeah. And so when you're out helping someone, it's interesting how, especially someone that's never experienced that before, you see the first smile on their face, the excitement, especially the challenges that it took them to get there. And I think God also works in a funny way when we take people elk hunting, because elk are the most to me, they're the hardest to get someone with a disability on, because they're just so
sporadic,
very elusive. Yeah. But I've seen things happen on some of these hunts that I'm like, elk don't do that. Elk never walks out in the middle of a meadow when we all show up with 7 side-by-sides, That doesn't happen, but it did.
Yeah.
And I think those kind of things are really exciting. It's exhilarating, but just helping others, really serving others, is one way that you can experience happiness and peace. I really think that's part of the things that when God left this earth, he says, feed my sheep. That is one way that we can do that, is by serving other people. And why not serve others that really struggle in that impact? So that's one of the reasons why I do it. And I do it for the ladies. I think the girls like it. So just kidding.
I think it's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a lot of admiration for you.
Oh, thank you.
And, I look up to you a lot and what you do, and I think it's really neat what you do. What's your message when you go to speak to like a youth group, you speak to a high school?
So I try to focus on, in youth groups, corporate events. My biggest thing, obviously, is I share my story. How I lost my legs, the journey of deciding to do an Ironman, what that, was my dream. I decided right there in the hospital bed. But I focus on faith over fear, and I have 3 things that emphasize on. One is purpose. What is your purpose? What is going to be your goal in mind that's going to drive you, and how you can, how faith is going to feed that purpose even more. The second one I talk about is failures. Trials that are going to come along the way, bumps in the roads. It's like how life happens. How you respond to those failures is what's going to define your success. Because let's be honest, the most successful people I've ever met have made a lot of mistakes.
Fell often.
Yeah. But keeping, understanding that some of those things are building blocks that is placed in your place that you're going to learn from, that's going to make you way better than someone else that just got it handed to them. And then the last thing I talk about is gratitude. And that gratitude is one of those things that folds everything together. Because gratitude, to me, besides love, is like the most powerful feeling that we can have as humans, whether we're receiving it or giving it. And how when I finished the Ironman, that was actually the thing that got me across that finish line. I hit this wall. I'll be quick. mile 133s where I talk about it. And I just was in this pitfall. I was really, all the adrenaline from the race was really killing me. My stumps were all bloody from blisters, and I couldn't really move forward. I was throwing up. I took my prosthetic off, and all this blood was coming off, and I was just like trying to put it back on. I didn't want the race director to see me because he would kick us off or kick me off. So I was like, gosh, I got to get through this. What's going to be something positive in my mind? I try to think of good thoughts, trying to run. I was looking at my Garmin, and it was saying that I was doing like almost 27, 28-minute miles. And I had to finish the race under 17 hours.
Right.
That's to be qualified for an Ironman. And I was adding it up with the 7 miles left. Like, there's no way I'm going to finish. So when I was starting thinking of these peaceful things, what I love, my family, I'm grateful for my family. And I started thinking, like just anything I could be grateful for, like my nipples. I took nipple cream to keep it from chafing. I love nipple cream. And then I started thinking about like my job and being in beautiful Florida where I did the race. And then I started thinking about like things I still have that are, obvious, like my eyesight, my hands. And then I got down to my feet, and that's when it dawned on me. It's like, am I grateful for my feet? And like, kind of like talked about all those things that I learned. And just through that process, it was enough to give me that juice to finish to the end with 30 minutes left to spare.
Gratitude.
So, yeah, gratitude is super, super powerful. Practicing gratitude is also something that I try to emphasize for people to focus on too. So, do
you have practices? Do you do like a daily gratitude journal?
I have a journal.
Gotcha.
In the morning, I like it in the morning. I just feel like when you do something, I mean, you can do it any time of the day, but in the morning, think of stories that have impacted your life and reflect on them. Write them in your journal, and then sometimes I just read them. But in the morning, I just feel like if you set that tone right, it really helps throughout the rest of the day. I didn't bring it with me this trip, so I don't practice it every day, but it does kind of keep the status on. So
I did want to ask about your elk hunt this year because you killed a great bull.
Yeah, no, it was my biggest to date. It was one of those. So it was a late season elk tag. Okay. Late, like mid to late November.
Yep.
Which I've never hunted that late before. It was different. Like I was told that you don't call them like you do in the normal time. Yeah. It was more like hunting mule deer, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't know, late season stuff.
Like we were over in kind of Price, Utah, kind of over in that area, and it was these ridges that you just kind of go from point to point, and you kind of glass, which I love doing. That's one thing mule deer versus elk. I like, I have differences of things that I like, but this is kind of both worlds because I love to glass. So just to sit there on these cold hillsides and see these elk go into different pockets. And what's funny is it was a transition area. Like they come off the Manti and they come into this lower country, and I've never passed on a bull before, ever. Yeah. And the guy that knew the area, he's like, yeah, we'll see a couple, or we may not see any the whole time, but we could see up to like 10, 15 bulls. No cows. We saw no cows. Yeah. They just kind of come in, and they don't come. A few of them came into groups, but a lot of them were especially the bigger ones would come in by themselves and just solo in. And so you're seeing through these cedars and a few pines, and you're just looking for just like a brown hoof, and you're just glassing, and then you kind of get a different angle. You could see the antlers, and like I couldn't figure it out. It's like, why are they like in the coldest? I feel like they're in the coldest place. Why don't you go sit out in the sun? Yeah. But they're also been hunted forever. Yeah. They know. Like it blew my mind. And we went through a few days. There was a really nice 5-point that I could not get involved with. Like I practice long range, but at steep angles, I just feel like I need perfect foundation, and I couldn't find that. Yeah. And this 5-point was a tank, man.
Oh, I love a big 5, heavy. Man. It's one of my favorite animals.
He had great tines, not super long beam, but everything compact. But like I'm talking like
massive. I love a big 5.
Like your OS face was like, what the heck?
Oh,
and
I love that.
Just different level. Like you see bull, God, he's nice. Yes, man, that's nice. And then you're like, different level. You knew right from the beginning. You know, a good 300 pounds more on his body too. But we just couldn't get on him. Tried to hunt him a couple days, could never get back to him. But then we kind of went around and tried to find another spot. And as we were glassing down this big bull, it was like 1,500 yards, and it was sunny and snowy. So you got that, what do you call it? The heat wave coming through. You could just see one elk coming through. And we were about to leave, and my buddy Mike, he's like, whoa, wait. Check this one out. And so I looked at it, and it was a small bull. And like, oh, he's okay. And then a bigger 6 comes in, like, ooh, maybe. But you couldn't really tell how good he was. And then the elk ended up shooting. He comes in the rear, and he at first, like, I can't really tell. But then he turned his head, and like where he got a lot of his score, it was out of his width and length of his tine. And I just like, oh,
that's the one.
Oh man,
It's cool when you see the one.
Oh yeah, you just knew. And I was like, I wanted everybody that was with me, like, this is going to be a hell of a pack out. Are we okay? So I asked my buddy Mike, I go, Mike, are we okay with shooting this one? He goes, are we okay? I'm okay. Give me your gun. I will shoot this. And so we start hiking down. I get on this big rock cropping, and I lay down. And by the time I got there, they had bedded in these oak brush. And which I'm not, being in the Uintas, I'm not used to oak brush.
It's not fun. It's not fun to hike in at all.
It tears at you, man. You go through some jackets in oak brush.
I went through. I don't like it, but as I'm sitting there, I could not get the proper angle. And he bedded, and he kind of like a dog when they find its bed. He'd stand up, turn around, lie down, and like did like a spin, and. I was my fingers on the trigger, just getting ready, and I see him pop up, and it just didn't quite give me the angle and sit down. I just sat there for 40 minutes, just looking through the glass, just trying to stay awake, but yet trying to shake. And then he finally stood up, and I'm like, okay, if he gives me one broadside shot for just 2 seconds, I'm taking him. And that's what happened.
How far?
500, so 540 or 576, I think it was.
Did you have your kid with you?
No, he had his grades. He was going to come, but his grades were a little low.
Yeah,
and
good on you.
Yeah, and he's here at the booth helping me.
Okay,
but he got his grades up.
Awesome.
So
there you go.
that's his thing. Like,
I go through that too.
Same with sports. Like they won't let you, if you're failing any classes, you can't even go to practice. Yeah, and so he's working on it. But
that's
my dad did that to me. I missed a deer hunt because I didn't have my grades up. So he didn't come, but my buddies were there, and that was real special. And packing out, like, it was just the biggest body bull too.
Yeah,
walking up to it because of that illusion of the heat wave, I couldn't really tell how big he was, and I just said a prayer because all that emotion hit up because Utah had the biggest snowstorm record. And like the animals that were killed off from that snowstorm, and that is a ton of snow 2 years ago.
22, 23.
Yeah. And then, like, this animal was an 8-9-year-old bull. Like, he went through that.
Yeah, it's just freaking crazy
survived.
to think about.
Think of all the times he'd been hunted, and it just kind of came back to me that I have a freaking warrior in my hands, and I just ended his life.
Yeah,
so it was just so I just started crying and praying at the same time. It was just, I usually get emotional, but this one just for some reason clicked to me because I was in awe too. What it was, but the back out was tough. Oak brush, it's like swimming.
Yep,
you're like swimming, trying to. Here's the path.
Yeah.
Sweet. No, that's not a path.
Yeah, you get to the dead ends, you got to turn back around, but it's like you're tearing jackets, but you're tearing skin off. It's like destroying your face. You get slapped. Like
I was like trying to beat the sun down, and so I'm like. I don't care. This is not a path. I will make a path.
Yeah, pushing through.
I've had some times before pushing through oak brush where like a mule deer rack I was packing out, buck I killed, I got hung up in it.
Oh yeah.
And then I tried to I couldn't move forward or backwards, so I take my backpack off, and my backpack just like hung there, and then like slowly went down to the ground. with all the meat and everything in it because it was just like stuck. I had like literally like break all the branches to get it all off. Like it was a jungle mess, and it's like that stuff's
And
so
you
nasty.
gained 10 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had some times in that kind of stuff, whether it's oak brush or alder in Alaska, where you get to the point where you're hiking angry. And then you get past anger and you're like almost claustrophobic and you're starting to feel like, I don't know if I'm going to get out of here. And you start to feel nervous and anxious. And I've had many times where I've just had to be like, okay, I just need to stop.
Yeah.
I need to sit down for a minute. I need to realize that this sucks, but it's not going to last forever. Like I'll figure it out. I just need to have like a little talk to myself and then push through.
No.
Have you ever had that phase? You know that movie, Fight Club?
Oh, yeah.
When Brad Pitt.
Classic.
One of my favorite movies.
Me too.
You don't know who you're dealing with, Lou. And he just goes crazy. And I've had those moments where I'm like shit's so bad that I'm just I don't care. I'm laughing at stuff, just going through things and like anything's just, I go through a little psychotic moment. But I'm like, I'll get through it.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to stop, take a break, collect your thoughts, realize, you know what, I'm going to get through it. I got to relax. If I fight this, it's just I'm hiking angry, I'm hiking mad, I'm causing more stress than I need to. I just need to relax. It's not going to last forever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
We've had you for a while. I know that you need to get back to the booth, but
Dude, it's been an honor.
I mean, all ours.
You guys,
you're a true inspiration for everyone.
Oh,
I always love
appreciate
talking to you, hearing from you.
Yeah,
I
I was so
guys.
excited when you said that you'd do it.
Oh yeah,
I was really.
This is a dream. Like I said, I love Go Hunt. I love what you guys do. I love your guys' content. I mean, like I was just telling my buddy Chance back at home. I said, I'm going on this podcast. Like, oh my gosh, you guys are legends. Like they're so smart. And I'm like,
Oh man.
So, but no, we read the articles. Come on now.
Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Tell people just at the end, like how they can get a hold of you, what you're trying to do, where they can maybe donate or, get involved.
Well, I deleted my Feet Finder account, so you can't find me that way. You could email me, thesmith.inc@gmail.com.
Okay.
That's one way. Or reach out to me on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook. Try_no_feet is the handle, or just look up Sidney Smith. I think I'm the only Sidney Smith that's an amputee. So for speaking engagements, that's one way. Like I said, I do try to cater it to what the business needs or the school needs. So I'll try to talk to the superintendent or the CEO. I was like, hey, let me find that solution and I can make it work. And then with my organization, Disabled Outdoorsmen, doutah.org is one way you can find us, or just DO_Utah. Or if you're here at the expo, I know this is probably not going to air out, but every year we do a gun raffle where we raise funds for a gun. This year we're doing a little bit different, where we had a boy that we took elk hunting earlier this year that is terminal, and he had some medical bills piling up, and there was one procedure that we thought might work that his parents took him out to, and it didn't. And so they're dealing with this medical bills and an expiration for their son. And so we have a puppy, a trained puppy right there at the booth that those funds are going towards their medical bills. So you can get a goose hunt and a puppy, but just little stuff like that. We're just trying to pay back. So,
well, thank you again.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Can't thank you enough.
Thank you guys.
And man, you're the man. And we love you.
Appreciate you.
Yep.